Whenever you're ready, Town Clerk, let me know.
We are live. Go ahead.
Okay. Please rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States
United
of
States of
Allegiance
America,
flag
to the republic for which it stands,
to the republic for which it stands, one
one
nation,
nation,
under
under
God,
God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I think there's a little delay from us, so. Okay, Madam Clerk, could you do a roll call, please?
Councilmember Christine Adamsack,
Here.
Councilmember Linda Hammer,
Here.
Councilmember Michael Jazinski,
Here.
Councilmember Gerald Kaminsky, Councilmember Brian Nowak,
Present.
Councilmember Brian Pilarski,
Present.
Supervisor Diane Bedkowski.
Here. Okay, we have everyone here tonight. We have Linda Hammer, who is virtual, and the Town Clerk tonight. I need a motion to go into executive session. Actually, I'll make the motion to go into executive session to discuss the employment history and appointment of particular persons, pending workers' compensation litigation, and the financial history of a particular corporation. Can I get a second? Councilmember Jazinski, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. We're going into executive session, and we'll keep the meeting running. You might want to check back. We have several topics to discuss. Thanks. We need to come out of executive session and finish up the work session portion of the meeting. Okay, it's 6:30. I need a motion to come out of executive session. Councilmember Adamczak, seconded by Councilmember Pilarski. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, well, this is the portion we're going to go through the agenda items. We have no public hearings tonight. We have resolution one is a resolution that was tabled at the last meeting, the abolishment of the Deputy Superintendent of Highways. And I'd like to ask Councilmember Kaminsky and Nowak why you are presenting this resolution to eliminate this position that,
Savings to the taxpayers. By my estimate, and I'm sure some of the other people may agree with me, we're probably gonna save we're probably gonna save $150,000. I have the description, if anybody wants to see it, I'll be glad to show it to you. It has nothing to do with personalities. We've dealt with too many appointed positions, and I can go back, I think it was 6, 7 years ago, we did away with one in the courtroom that basically didn't serve any purpose. We've got enough foremen in there, and it's like I said, $150,000 to me is $150,000.
I don't see the 150, where what you're talking, the salary is in 87 and some benefits, but, Councilmember Nowak?
The resolution says, whereas the town board, for reasons of economy and efficiency, hereby determines in the best interest of the town to oppose the position of deputy superintendent of highways. So it's got the initial salary, it's got the other cost savings that come along with it, but in addition to that is the productivity you get out of the highway department. So between all of those things together, to my mind, you think about the budget that we passed at the end of last year, and some of the cost increases that have come along, unforeseen things like the war in Ukraine and its impact on fuel prices, you know. And we could talk about whether this is a good thing, whether it's a bad thing. We could talk about what the duties are, what's done or what isn't, but these are the meetings of the Traffic Highway Safety Committee. There's something that anybody can review and take a look at for yourselves. You can hear what people say, what they don't say up here. But what I did is showed you here, in yellow are meetings where the Deputy Highway Superintendent was not in attendance, and in pink are meetings where the deputy was in attendance. This is something for everybody can take a look at and make up their own decision based on the evidence in front of them. To my mind, there's adequate staff right now to deal with the day-to-day of the department. You know, we do the road paving, the snow plowing in the winter, all the other things. There are dozens of employees. You have middle management, and there are enough people to deal with all that work independent of this position. I feel if it's not there, it's a dollar savings to the town, and we still get the work done. To my mind, you know, Councilman Pilarski and I spoke, and he said that there's other retirements, some new information coming along, and because of that, I'm opening to table this item and look into this further.
I do agree with that. I mean, eliminating the position is a cost savings, but in addition to that, some more information came out. There's future retirements nearby, so I think we should look into that and see the impact it's gonna make on the highway department and the services given to the town residents. So I will make a motion when we get to it to table it, hoping to have the support of the board here so we can gather further information in regards to this issue.
Well, I guess I want to present some facts here, okay? This position has been created if you look at the resolution, and for 58 years, we've had a deputy highway superintendent. So I don't understand about the timing and why now, especially with all the ARPA funding that the town has received and more highway projects, road reconstruction, and residents' complaints. Residents do have complaints, and they're not being heard. I get the call in my office, my staff does. So we need somebody boots on the ground, and the highway deputy is. He's not stuck in an office all day long. He's out there working firsthand with the residents. So I feel that the residents are going to suffer the most. Also, you added $100,000 to the 2022 budget for part-time seasonal salaries and raises, and added positions that are not directly firsthand to the residents. But yet you want to eliminate a position that the residents rely on to get their issues taken care of. Every other non-union employee got a raise in 2022, except the deputy, and he didn't complain. He's still doing his day-to-day job, no complaints with that, but he was singled out there. He's never been written up, and he has a clean file, and I do want to bring the fact up that in 2015, we went through a whole investigation. The town spent $100,000, Councilmember Kaminsky and former Supervisor Mary Holtz into the investigation into the highway superintendent and deputy in 2015. And there was no finding at all, and it was sent to the Attorney General's office.
Excuse me, Diane, and I would...
Councilmember, you're out of line. I need to finish, and then you can speak, okay? I need to take control of the meeting. It was another political witch hunt, and this is what it looks like today. It looks personal, and it looks like, you know, we're going to be spending some money where we shouldn't have. You know, I don't know how this ends, but it's more personal than it is productivity. That's my opinion anyway.
And I've expressed a willingness to table the item and look in further of it, you know, and
And kind of go off your comments quick.
Well, wait a minute, Councilmember Kaminsky wanted to go first.
No, I'm fine. And going back to the investigation that was instituted by Mary Holtz and myself years ago, the sad part about it, everybody claims it was exonerated. I will make sure I dig up the letter from the Attorney General's office. At that point in time, they never looked into it. They wouldn't. The DA's office here in Western New York, who we also turned it over, said there wasn't enough to prosecute. There's one person collected 742 and a half hours in paychecks that wasn't working over a three-year period. There were payroll records kept on sticky notes. Absolutely, utterly ridiculous. One person wound up using some town equipment to remove his pool, but that was okay too. And I can go on and on and on. But the biggest thing, there's only one person who has made this personal, and it is not me, nor is it Brian Nowak or anybody else on his board except the supervisor. We tried to do this objectively. We've tried to save the taxpayers' money. And it's like I said, we get enough complaints, taxes keep going up, keep going up. I mean, would you like a $90,000 job and another $25,000 in health care for roaming around town all day? I'm certain anybody would take it. And I think this is the biggest thing, since the supervisor brought it up. I just want to read you this one part, and this is basically Deputy Superintendent of Highways. Required knowledge and skills. Good knowledge of engineering methods, practices, and techniques. Good knowledge of highway construction, maintenance, and repair. Good knowledge of highway equipment operation and maintenance. Administrative ability, ability to direct the work of others. Good professional judgment, initiative, and resourcefulness. That's part of the problem that I kind of left on the side, and it's getting harder and harder to find qualified people. And the worst thing in the world to me is to spend everybody's tax dollar in this room and the whole town of Cheektowaga on people that are not qualified to hold the job in the first place. And that's as far as I'm going, as far as it being personal.
Councilmember Pilarski?
So kind of, it's not a personal issue. It is a dollars and cents issue. It's a financial issue. We have a job as a town board to make cuts where we could, and this is one position of a few. We can't cut positions in this town, you know, because of contracts and all that, and for services. So this is what was getting looked into. Whether it passes or not, we have still yet to get to that point. But it was one of few positions that there's a cost savings if eliminated. And to say that the position was here 58 years, we should keep it. There's been many other services and programs and everything that's been here and has a long history, but they were cut. Patriotic Commission, Crabapple Festival, so on and so forth. But those were things that could be cut for cost savings. This is one of those items on that list. And that's what the board is doing, is looking at that to see if it's worthwhile to cut to save money with minimal impact to the department and services to the residents.
Councilmember Noah?
I mean, we have to react to the events that are coming before us month by month after we pass a budget and as things evolve. We didn't foresee, gasoline prices going to $4.20, $4.30 a gallon when the budget was passed. We didn't foresee some of the other budget increases that are coming along. In regards to the $100,000 for wages, that is something that we foresaw. We knew that we were competing against fast food restaurants in places like Walmart and Amazon and these other companies that are paying starting wages of $16, $17 an hour for these positions. I think that's, in my personal view, and the board unanimously voted, the board at that time unanimously voted in agreement with this, that using $100,000 to boost our wages up a little bit in the efforts of retention and recruitment was a good investment of that money, for a number of employees. And I would argue that that has helped us find some lifeguards in every town struggling with those. That's helped us retain some folks that otherwise may have left. We saw that when we raised that wage for part-time sanitation workers that were picking up grass, that was helping. That was a good investment. It was a productive investment. We have to balance what we spend money on versus what we're getting out of it. And, that's what we're here to do. And we're going to have disagreements about that, but as Councilman Pilarski said, let's table this, let's look into it a little bit further, because since this resolution was first introduced and tabled the first time, there have been a change in some moving parts and, potential people retiring sooner than anticipated. So this is something that has to be revisited and thought about in light of new information.
Thank you, Councilmember. I did want to address Councilmember Kaminsky's job. The job description is stating in here, there is a note at the bottom of the qualifications. It says, note, this position is in the exempt class and acceptable training and experience requirements noted are advisory only, right there.
I can perfectly.
So it wasn't a
I can perfectly
requirement.
read, but the
You're
biggest
saying, you
thing,
were giving the impression it
and
was
I will
a
go back to, I
requirement.
do believe it was on Channel 2 News.
All right,
Why, of
don't
course.
interrupt me, okay? Let me finish, and then you can go if you still have something else to say, okay? So I just don't think you have the understanding of what the deputy highway superintendent does. It's going to hurt, this is going to hurt the residents. The deputy highway superintendent is boots on the ground. He's helping all departments, including John Jaschelski knows he comes to parks and helps if they need some extra help there, get a tree down or whatever. Charlie will get a crew together and bring them out there. I know he's worked with Rick Coburn, Building and Housing, or the Housing and Neighborhood Preservation, to get a better tree removal program going, because how many trees did we have where your department might have written it up to be removed, and then nobody checked with the homeowner to see if they wanted it removed? It was a neighbor that didn't like the leaves blowing into the yard. And Charlie helped get that plan in place. The deputy did that. So we weren't removing healthy trees just because somebody didn't want to rake up leaves in the fall. I mean, these are just a couple examples, but what I'm saying is I don't think you realize his importance in that department. And for 58 years, we have that. And I just feel like using your position on the town board is not the place to carry out your political vendetta, especially since we had that looked at in 2015. And it does look political and personal, like an abuse of power. So I think we should do the right thing and keep the position where it is and help the highway superintendent have an assistant to do his job. It's a big town, and we can't just let the highway superintendent take it over. There's close to 70 employees in that department. Councilmember Kaminsky, you have something else to add?
Well, I think it's a fruitless effort because there's no doubt, and I'm sure everybody can see, you have made this personal.
You've made it
And it's kind of very, very disheartening in my book for the almost 11 years I've been on this board, trying to save money for the taxpayers and make things a little better. I think, talk about being personal, I have never seen this in almost 11 years that I've been on a town board, somebody so adamantly defend and protect somebody that in my mind has not done a stellar job for the taxpayers. Not just the town of Chickawaga, the taxpayers.
Just,
You go through the qualifications on this list. If anybody has anything to do with this town as far as elected officials and not know what in the hell is going on, they're blind, to say the very least.
You haven't shown me anything concrete, Councilmember Kaminsky. I don't know what you're talking about.
I
You're
know.
going by hearsay. Councilmember Nowak?
I know we have a few board members that, that weren't here back in 2017, but I want to encourage you to look at Resolution 2017-495. It's amendment to Deputy Highway Superintendent position. In 2017, back in the summer, there was discussion of potentially scaling back that position and turning it to a stipend position. That it says, whereas the town board is consistently seeking ways to reduce costs to taxpayers without reducing services available to residents, an elimination of this position and the position referenced as Deputy Highway Superintendent will result in significant savings on a yearly basis. So there were discussions back in 2017 on whether or not to have this particular position. So, it changes on a regular basis. There's times where the board in place at the time feels it's necessary. There's times where they felt it wasn't. At that time, it was withdrawn. I don't know all the details about that because I was a private citizen at the time.
The union got involved and said we couldn't do it that way because it was a stipend situation. We'd have to negotiate something with the union. They weren't willing to do that.
It's just being that, in the last 6 years, this has been something that has been brought up previously by a previous board that includes some of the folks that were here at the time and that are here now.
Okay, anybody else before we move on?
Well, we talk about eliminating, lowering taxes. I mean, this might be a great way. I could give an economics class on how we could reduce taxes in this town, but I don't think everybody on this board's in agreement with that. I just want to be sure that when we make this decision, that it's not based just on dollars and cents instead of just need, because I don't know enough about it. I agree with Councilman Nowak. We need to table it. We need to look at this as a whole and not just make it about dollars and cents. Do we really need to eliminate this position or not?
Anybody else? All right, let's move on to the next resolution. The warrant. Any questions?
Supervisor, can I make a comment while, I just want you guys to know that as you're speaking into your microphones, now that I'm listening to it the way I am, if you are not speaking directly into your microphone, it is not coming through. So Councilmember Jazinski, we heard about 5 words of what you just said. So I'm just letting you know to please speak directly into your microphones from now on so that it can be heard to everybody. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for reminding us, Madam Clerk. Resolution 2 is the negative seeker declaration for 2145 Old Union Road. Do you have any questions? I see Rick Colburn's in the audience tonight. And we also have Pat Bowen here. Also to approve the site plan for 2145 Old Union Road.
Just on this project, I think this is something that, with current conditions in town, it's needed. I think it's a good idea. It's gone before EAC and all the other necessary boards. I mean, I'm glad to see it coming before us tonight.
Yes. Could you talk into the microphone?
Could you add one condition to that resolution?
Well, give us your suggestion and we have to decide if you want.
To add the condition that the drainage and grading plan would be subject to review and approval of the town engineer.
You'll have to go slow. Go ahead, do it again.
Approval of the grading and drainage plan by the town engineer.
Approval of grading and drainage plan
Correct.
by town engineer. And is that under the site plan approval?
Yes.
All right, do you have that, Madam Clerk? Madam Clerk, did you hear?
Well,
Okay, so
Pat,
approval,
what was the first part? Approval of what in drainage?
grading and drainage plan
Grading.
uh,
I have it. Thank you.
contingent upon the approval of the town engineer. Okay? Is that right, Pat?
Yes, all set.
All right.
Yes.
Then 4 is the site plan approval for 6386 Transit Road. 5 is the approval of site plan at 234 Clover Place. Did I miss? Okay, 8 is approval of a purchase of 1 new and unused Godwin 4-inch dry prime CD 10.
What about 6 and
Yeah.
7?
Yeah, thanks are all, thank you.
6 is up on the screen.
Okay, oh, thanks, good, all right. Award a bid for the town-wide tree removal. All right, and anybody, number 7, reject bids for the ADA elevator and front entrance foyer for Alexander Community Center. Then 8 is the purchase of a new and unused pump for one of our pump stations. And also is number 9. Number 10 is to call for a public hearing on a special use permit accessory drive-through at 1685 Walden Avenue. Any questions on that? 11, notice to bidders for clothing for the parks and youth and recreation. 12 is the notice to bidders for pool maintenance chemicals. 13 is to renew the agreement with CGI Communications for community video program. 14 is to approve agreement with Lawley Insurance for loss control services and claims management services. 15 is request Buffalo Erie Niagara Land Improvement Corporation to acquire property. I think the address,
It's 44
44
long.
long.
That's a vacant property, that's flat land, right? Okay, just want to confirm.
Any questions on that? I think it's a good thing. 16 is to authorize highway superintendent for expenditures of highway funds for highway law, section 284, which is, I believe, the road repaving and improvement projects. 17 is authorize supervisor to execute memorandum of understanding with renting a sport court, one with the National Ball Hockey League, and 2 is Western New York Roller Hockey League. 18, authorize supervisor to execute annual agreement with options between the town of Cheektowaga and Mount Muhlenberg Bets for the ice rink maintenance compressor room. 19, special event is Xylem Walk for Water. 20 is the special event Honor for Veterans. 21 is the special event Ride for Missing Children. 22 is the special event War of 1812 commemoration ceremony. 23 is the special event National Night Out. 24 is the special event Halloween Trunk or Treat. 25 is the appointment date of motor equipment operator A in the sewer maintenance department. Appointment of welder in the highway department. 27 is the appointment of a motor equipment operator B in the sanitation department. Congratulations to Ray Jablonski if he's here tonight. We also have an appointment of a new tree trimmer in the highway, Nicholas Hoffbauer. I think he's new. Nicholas, are you here tonight? An appointment of the clerk typist back to the police department. And 30 is youth and rec hiring. 31 is hiring and termination of part-time seasonal. 32 is youth and recreation termination. 33 is the travel authorization for the police department. There's a couple here, 34 and 35. Any questions on any of those? Then we have suspension of rules. Number 1 is a notice to bidders for surplus vehicles.
Yeah, just on this one, this is the same vehicles we dealt with previously. For anybody's wondering if it's a different set, we dealt with vehicles a couple meetings back. It's the same vehicles.
What do you mean dealt with?
We had a resolution that, we had a list of 10 or 11 vehicles that Captain Roll was speaking with us about not too long ago. We had previous board action on it. It's the same set of vehicles.
To purchase new ones, though. That was the other resolution,
No,
correct?
we were talking about putting these up for bid
Yes, but
previously.
that's
so-
right, but we didn't yet. Number 2 is the appointment of a code enforcement officer into the building and plumbing department. Oh, yes, it's a promotion, Kyle Henriksen. And that's all I have. Any questions, comments before? We're going to have to adjourn the work session, and we'll come back in 5 minutes for the regular meeting.